Alright everyone, link in the description where you can see this for yourself. It's from The Hill, which conducts shitty polls in collusion with Harris, but at the same time does have some news that's worth reading. This is hilarious, but also a little bit sad because it looks pretty bad. The Demented, obviously, haggard, tired, pathetic so-called President of the United States finally came back from his extended long-term lid on any media pressers. He was in Delaware, actually, which he does frequently for his health because he's demented. When his dementia acts up, they take him off the field and they put other people there to distract you for a few days while they pump him full of meds, and then they put him back in the White House. But I think it was premature. They did it probably because people were starting to question where the fuck he was and what the fuck he was doing, considering all of the various economic problems that the United States has right now. Take a look at this. What do you see? I see a tired old man who's basically like heel-toeing it along, completely oblivious to his surroundings. A Secret Service agent tries to wave him in. There's a little path that goes in front there into the White House. Totally ignores that, decides to go off behind the bushes instead. Going to the same location, but not in the same way, certainly not the most efficient way. Sort of wandering around, looking around like he doesn't know where he is. And the problem is that this is not a single thing. This is not a single instance of him doing this. He's done this a half a dozen fucking times since he's been put in as the asterisk steward. He did this like a month ago. You remember when he was by that ice cream shop or something, about to go make a speech or some shit like that, and he starts wandering around the tables, engaging someone in conversation. Jill Biden has to grab his arm and pull him away. It looks a lot like, at the end of the second term of Ronald Reagan. There was a running joke in the second term of Reagan that he was becoming demented. It was, by the way, rumored to be a security concern, because if you have someone technically capable of launching nuclear weapons who's not of sound mind, that begins to frighten people. And they became hyperbolic about this. Like the idea was that Reagan was simply completely goddamn out of his mind. Now he wasn't, but he was definitely showing signs of cognitive decline, at least in the second half of his second term. I think that it began slowly a little bit earlier than that. First term Reagan, totally with it. Second term Reagan wasn't the same person. Even when he's debating Mondale, it's a lot different from when he was debating Jimmy Carter, and not in the normal presidential way of, hey, usually in the first debate for their second term, they're a little bit more slow. Obama did this. Fucking Trump certainly did this. He wasn't the same as in the first round of debates. This is a perennial thing, but it was beyond that. And that became a concern for society. People were worried, hey, the dude with the nuclear codes might have at least some cognitive decline. This is frightening to people. They started talking about having a nuclear war and how Ronald Reagan would ash his Chesterfield on the little red button or something like that. Why is it that we don't get any of that from the legacy media, despite the fact that Ronald Reagan, at the time that was being talked about, was still 4 years younger than Biden is now, in his first year of his first term, which will be his only term, I guarantee you, at this rate, because there's no way that this vegetable is going to be able to drag himself to the debates for another term. I don't think the Democrats will let him run if he's still above ground at the time. He's had several aneurysms. He's fallen down like 3 fucking times in the last year. The writing is on the wall for his asterisk steward administration. But this is clearly not good. But you didn't see it on CNN. You didn't see it on MSNBC. You didn't see it on NBC. The problem is that the legacy media isn't telling Soccer Mom America, which would be the people that would do more than just joke about this, the people that would viscerally care and clutch their pearls and say, oh my God, we're going to get nuked or something. They don't even know that this happens. They haven't seen a single instance of one of Biden's gaffes. They don't know that he broke his foot a few months ago, and then he claimed, and if the claim is true, it's even more evidence of dementia than the alternative that he's lying, that he jumped out of the shower and was chasing his dog to grab his tail, and he slipped and fell and broke his foot. He fell upstairs 3 times in a row getting aboard Air Force One. That was a couple of months ago. They tried to blame it on the wind. Well, it was a windy day. Yeah, it's normal, by the way. When it's a little bit breezy out, I trip all over myself. I fall down constantly. No, it's not normal. But if you're approaching 80 years old and you're not quite with it and your balance is off and you have aneurysm issues, Yeah, unfortunately, that might be the new norm for you. You have to take it a little bit more slowly, but Joe Biden likes to show off because in his mind, in his childlike, dementia-addled mind, he's still like 40. He's still a younger dude. He's still with it. He's cool and he's strong and can take people behind the woodshed and challenge into push-up contests and tell stories about how he threatened to wrap a chain around a dude's neck once at a swimming pool. That's Biden's normal. This is unfortunately, when people start getting dementia, they'll tell the same stories, they'll live in the past, and they'll fall down and shit like that. He is clearly demented. Not in a, hey, this person's old, they can't remember things quite as well way. In a literal way. As in, he'd be diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's, or maybe, mid-stage Alzheimer's by this point, and people would be starting to talk about halfway houses and assisted living and what medications you should be pumping yourself with to slow it down, and longevity and all these other things that unfortunately millions of people have to have conversations about in the U.S. alone. You'd be having those conversations. But they put him in as a steward in order to just be a placeholder president in the meantime while they scramble to figure out what the fuck they're going to do in 2024. And that's what it is. The fact that Biden's in there, really, I think that they had to give him a massive bribe. I don't even think that he wanted the fucking position. I think that he knows, somewhere inside he knows, hey, well, I'm almost 80. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. At least he was hesitant before. He was definitely hesitant in the wake of his son there dying, and not the crack-smoking son that knocked up a stripper and cheated on his dead brother's ex-wife. No, the one that had the ex-wife, former wife that had been cheated on with the stripper, well, crack-smoking and having orgies and currying favors with multiple foreign regimes. You'll never get closure on that, by the way. After that, he almost disappeared from the public for several years. And he's like, hey, every time he was asked, well, will you run? Well, I don't know, I've got a lot going on, and my son died, and I'm not sure, I can't commit myself at this time. They had to bribe the dude. How many tens of millions did they have to give to him, and how many promises did they have to curry favor in order to get him to run? I think he was reluctant. I don't think that Biden in and of himself is the egotistical power grabber. I think that he's a haggard, demented, tired old man who's basically there because they needed some plausible deniability about what was going to go on in the 2020 election. Honk honk. I won't say any more on YouTube as a platform, although you know what I'm talking about probably. And they figured Biden was the best face. They couldn't do it with Kamala Harris. It wouldn't be taken seriously because she was desperately unliked. It couldn't be Bernie. They wouldn't want to, because Bernie Sanders, even though he's nuts, he is actually semi-independent in his thinking, so it couldn't be him. It had to be someone from the corporate side. Warren, it just didn't work. She came in third in her own state primary, so she gets elbowed aside on Super Tuesday. Well, that didn't leave a whole lot of individuals that they could use, right? And I think Robert Kennedy, who I think will probably run for the presidency in the future, I think he was too young. I don't think he was quite old enough to be legally able to run. So they have a problem. They probably looked at Cuomo for a while, but I guarantee that the insiders already knew about some of the allegations against him and knew it would blow up in his face. And they said, well, with Biden, it's mostly him schmoozing on camera with young girls. But we can excuse that because we can get Biden to say, well, I'm just a tangible kind of guy. I'm a tactile kind of guy, rather. I really like to put my hands around people, and it might be kind of creepy, but he's like the 50s grandpa figure. With Cuomo, you can't really do that. He's several decades younger. He's definitely not as soft-spoken, not as grandfatherly, not as demented. He doesn't have that plausible deniability. Sucks for him. That's about all. Peace out.